Hi guys, this is SB6 and today I would like to show you some things on the NerdSeq. I have the NerdSeq here with the new 2.0 update, the new multi-IO expander and a launchpad. And I would mainly would like to talk about randomizations, all things you can do with random values within the NerdSeq, but still keeping it under control. So yeah, let's dive in. Let's make a new pattern. And I have the launchpad hooked up to the multi-IO, just a USB cable into the expander. And now I can set triggers very easily and remove them. And I can also dial in nodes. Yeah, let's see how that sounds. So it's really easy to dial in some values. The multi-IO has a few functions that make it really easy to input different values. I can use the encoder to set values, and when I'm in a different column I can set values there. When I press and hold it, I can make bigger steps, in this case octaves. But I can also use the Y mode, and the Y mode is a little different because I can also set nodes here, but when I'm in a different column it also creates nodes. So in this mode you are always sure that turning the encoder creates nodes and automatically creates a trigger for it. And when I press and hold the Y button, I can remove nodes. And the Z node is for creating triggers. You can dial it to make Euclidean patterns really easy. So the Z mode always inputs triggers. Yeah, and when the Euclidean modes are created, I can switch back to the other modes and remove triggers or add them. And what's also really nice is on the spots where nodes are without a trigger, you see a red square on the launchpad, so I can easily see that those values need triggers. So yeah, that makes it really fun to create patterns on the fly. But now on the topic of randomization. Let's say I want a random node at this position. So after the highest nodes we get the random nodes. So when I press and hold the X button and turn this, I get the first random node, random 0 is the first random node, and yeah, let's first hear it, how it sounds. Placing a trigger. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now you can hear that the nodes it is choosing from the full range of C0 to C8. That's a lot of octaves. That's 10 octaves, I think. So if we want to control the range where it should pick the notes from, we can press OK on a random node and we go into the random ranges screen. So let's say I want the ranges to only pick notes from 10% of the full range to 30% of the full range, and maybe have another range from 20 to 50. Now you see here that it will only choose notes between C1 and C3, so that's 2 octaves. And when I go to the other range, it will choose notes from C2 to C5. What I also want to do is keep it within a scale, so it will sound more musical. We can also do that in the setup screen. So lots of scales to choose from here. Let's just pick one, and when you press OK on this scale, you can even customize it further. You can set the keynote, if it should quantize up or down, or coin, so it tosses a coin whether it should quantize up or down, and whether it should allow notes outside of the scale during edit and input. And you can even customize the scale to select which notes are allowed or not. That's really cool. So now it should sound a little more musical. Yeah, that works. Another fun thing is that the random ranges can be used for a lot of other things. So, for instance, here we have the ratcheting values. So this is just playing the note once, and this will ratchet it a few times, 4 times. But we can also use the random ranges to introduce random ratcheting. So first without random. And now let's this is the random trigger length, but we're searching for random ratchet range, and this is also using the ranges we configured with the random nodes. So we have 10 to 30% and 20 to 50%. Well, let's keep it on this one and see what it does. So you can hear sometimes it ratchets 1 time, sometimes 4 times, sometimes 2 times. I think you get what it is doing. So that's also a really fun way to make your patterns more alive. But there are still tons of other ways to work with random values and random ranges. So for instance, I can also randomize the notes in the pattern when I select them. So I press mark and select the notes, and now in the nerd menu we have the randomized ranges, and here I can also select the ranges I set before. So this is 10 to 30%, and this is 20 to 50%. Well, let's see. When I press OK. Oh, sorry, I need to go to the pattern. Now it has made random notes in the pattern. And they will stay the same until I randomize them again, of course. So that's a cool way to get some inspiration going. Yeah, different ways of randomization. Yeah, let's say I make a new pattern with a different sound. And I'm going to dial in some notes, not the random ones, some bass notes. Yeah, okay, cool. Some bass notes. And now I want the pattern to run a lot slower, so I'm going to divide. Oh, that's the wrong one. I have to be in the sequencer screen, and I can divide the pattern. So it will always play those notes in this order, but now when I go to the Nerd menu and say let's play it random and refresh every time it completes the pattern, I will always have these notes but in a different order. So let's see how that sounds. So it's easy to get lost already in the sounds this way, and it keeps fresh because of the randomization. So another way to do randomizations is to use effects to change the bass note. So let's say I want the first note to be 1 octave higher, or maybe 2 octaves, but only 50% of the time. What I then have to do is to create a probability effects in the first column, and it's really important to first set the probability and then set the bass note. because the effects are executed in order of so fx column 1 is first executed and then 2. So if the base note was in one and the probability in the other one, then it would first set the base note and then the probability, and that's not what we want. I hope it makes sense. So I set the probability to 50% here, and I'll set it back to 100 before the new note begins. And here I'll set the base note, and this is 12 semitones up, 2 octaves up. And of course I need to set it back to 0 here. So the first note will now have a 50% chance to go 2 octaves up. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay. So another cool way to do some random controlled values is by using tables. Tables are like sequences within a sequencer that is already running, within the pattern that's already running. And we can also set some random values there. So when I create a new table, I can jump inside the table with OK again. And by pressing Shift Delete, I can enter some random nodes. And I also want to trigger those nodes. So the envelopes get triggered. And let's say I want 20 milliseconds triggers. And within a table, I can set the random ranges. So this has nothing to do with the ranges we set earlier, but tables have their own ranges. And I can set this the upper range and the lower range. And the nodes are still quantized to the scale we have set up here. So that's really nice. Yeah, let's see how it sounds. I also need to stop the table, because otherwise the table will be run for every node it encounters. So let's see what we have now. And you see that it is running really fast now. So I can change the speed a bit. And what I also can do is limit the nodes it can choose from within the table. So I'll just remove a few nodes and set the quantization. And make the lower range a bit less. Run it with the baseline, it will still be Do we have more options for randomizations? Yes, of course. We can also set probability on triggers, for instance. Let's say this node will get a trigger probability, and it will also be like 50%, and then this node will be 100% again, and then it stays 100 until it repeats the pattern. And now you see that it you can still hear the note because the CV value is changing, but the trigger is not fired. So the note can still be heard a little bit more dim because the envelope is still open on that node. So let's say I don't want to trigger the entire row for 50% of the time. We can also do that. So we go to the row probability and set the row probability to 100 here again. So this to 50% again. But now we have a challenge, because when the entire row is not fired 50% of the time, it also could be that the probability is not reset to 100 again. So all rows will be affected. To fix this, we can go to the FX4 column. And the FX4 column is not affected by the row probability. So if we set the probability to 100% here, we make sure that only this row, well, to be more specific, only these two rows will have 50% probability. So I can remove this one. Yeah, let's see if it works. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool to me. So yeah, there are probably tons of different ways to use randomization in the NerdSeq. I've tried to show some things I really use a lot in my patterns, and I hope it was inspirational, and hopefully you learned a thing or two. And I hope it gives new energy to try things in your own patterns. Okay, see you on the next video. Bye bye.